Since the beginning of civilizations, there have been cities. These dense metropolitan areas house everything from businesses to families. We have never been able to exactly date when a city began, but we will look at the written history, search the ground, or listen to tales passed down through the generations to try and discover when an ancient city was first founded, what life was like, and the history behind every aspect of these massive inhabited areas. Now we will look at some of the oldest cities that have been founded on this earth. All the ones I will cover are still inhabited today and have been inhabited for many years before that. So let's start at number 5. Number 5. Byblos, Lebanon. Byblos, located in Lebanon, is the largest city in the Mount Lebanon Governorate. It is believed that the city was first occupied between 8000 and 7000 BCE and continuously inhabited since 5000 BCE. This makes it one of the oldest continuously lived-in cities in the world, a great feat that should be remembered. Byblos has been a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1984 and has been part of many civilizations that have controlled the land around this city. It is closely linked to many legends and tales that have existed for thousands of years all around the Mediterranean. This coastal city is located on a sandstone cliff and has been continuously inhabited since the Neolithic period. This can be seen in the buildings within the city. It has temples from the Bronze Age, Persian fortifications, Roman roads, Byzantine churches, Crusade citadels, and medieval architecture. This makes the history of Byblos very rich, with lots of tales about the city found in different languages from different civilizations from different times. However, there have been recent turbulence in the area with the independence of Lebanon in 1943. A war in 2006 negatively affected the ancient city due to a massive oil slick that covered the city. This has now been cleared up. Have you been to Byblos? Number 4. Argos, Greece. Argos in Greece is a city with a very in-depth history. Argos was once a great and powerful city-state that rivaled the famous Sparta. The city is thought to be the birthplace of many well-known names such as Philip II, a king of Macedonia, Alexander the Great, and the famous Perseus. There is evidence that Argos has been continuously inhabited since about 7,000 years ago. The name has changed many times, but this location has been the home to people for thousands of years. The village grew into a town until a great city that had control over many aspects of modern-day Greece. However, their refusal to fight in the war against Persia in 480 BCE saw them isolated from the other city-states in the area, but they were eventually able to regain diplomatic relations with the rest of the local area. However, they had lost vital power throughout their world. Since that time, they had been controlled by many different nations, including the Romans, Byzantium Empire, Crusaders, the Republic of Venice, and the Ottomans. It gained independence from the Ottoman Empire in 1821 before becoming a part of the unified provisional government of the First National Assembly. This later became part of the Kingdom of Greece. At this point, the city was an urban sprawl, with unorganized buildings littered everywhere. This labyrinth of streets made the city grow massively until it got to a point where the authorities tried to implement new measures to combat the rapid, unorganised building. The locals rejected these plans and nothing changed. Have you seen the city of Argos? Number 3. Aleppo, Syria. Aleppo is a city in Syria. It is the capital of the Aleppo Governorate, the most populous Syrian sector. Before the Syrian Civil War, Aleppo was the most populous city in the entire country, but now it is second after the nation's capital, Damascus. Aleppo might have been inhabited since the 3rd millennium BCE. This is backed up with excavations and written mentions in other cities. Historians think that the city was founded due to the strategic trading location between the Mediterranean and Mesopotamia. However, after the fall of the Ottoman Empire and the opening of the Suez Canal, Aleppo lost much of its trade and entered a steady decline. It lost important railroads due to many wars and soon lost its main access to the ocean in the 1940s. And then the Syrian Civil War started. The isolation this caused quickened the decline of the city even faster than before. The Battle of Aleppo in 2012 to 2016 caused major damage to the buildings within the city. Nowadays these are being repaired, but it will be a big task to complete. Aleppo first gained massive prestige throughout the local area during the time of the kingdom of Yamhad. Aleppo was the capital of this heavily restricted kingdom. Yamhad was squeezed between many other powerful kingdoms and had to fight with sword and pen to retain every metre of land it had gained. But the city survived, and nowadays it still survives. It is still standing despite the many vicious wars it was involved in, and I think it will remain standing for a long time yet. Number 2. Plovdiv, Bulgaria. Plovdiv is the second largest city in Bulgaria, with the current metropolitan population of around 750,000. It is an important economic, transport, cultural and educational centre now, but also in the past. This is evidence that Plovdiv was first inhabited around the 6th millennium BCE. Due to this, it is considered to be one of the oldest cities in the world. This city was subjected to many invasions and rulers. It was invaded by the Persians, Greeks, Celts, Romans, Goths, Huns, Bulgars, Slavs, Crusaders, and the Turks. It was also occupied by the Russian army in 1878. Plovdiv is situated in the fertile region of south-central Bulgaria, on the two banks of a river. It was historically developed on 7 hills, earning the city the nickname the City of the 7 Hills. It was named the European Capital of Culture in 2019 and has lots of history to back this up. Have you ever been to Plovdiv? Number 1. Jericho. Jericho is a Palestinian city in the West Bank area. It is located in the Jordan Valley with the Jordan River in the east and Jerusalem in the west. It is in the administrative seat of the Jericho Governorate and is governed by the Palestinian National Authority. It is thought to be one of the oldest inhabited cities in the world and the city with the oldest known protective wall in the world. At some point, it was also thought to have the oldest stone tower in the world, but this award has recently been passed to another city, also in Syria. Archaeologists have uncovered the remains of more than 20 successive settlements. the first which dates back 11,000 years ago, all the way back to 9000 BCE, nearly existing longer than the current geological period, called the Holocene epoch. Numerous springs have been the main attraction for many people for thousands of years, and was even described in the Hebrew Bible as the city of palm trees. Jericho is located 258 meters below sea level in an oasis in the Jordan Valley. This makes it the lowest city in the world, making it the tourist attraction throughout history. However, it has not always been stable enough for visitors. From 1949 to 1967, Jericho was annexed and ruled by the country of Jordan, before now being held under Israeli occupation since 1967. Administrative control was handed back to the Palestinian Authority in 1994, but they still have little power over this city. But going back even further, the city has faced troubled times. The population has grown slowly despite the passing of thousands of years. In around 7000 BCE, Jericho was thought to be the most populous city in the world, with a population of around 2000. This was an impressive feat due to natural resources needed to support this many people. In 2006, the population of Jericho was around 20,000. This tiny number for a modern city was a consequence of its recent turbulent history, passing ownership of the city many times, with only recently progress being made with new agreements between Palestine and Israel. The future might finally be looking bright again for Jericho. However, it will take thousands more years to recover to what it once was. Now that you've heard about some of the oldest cities in the world, what do you think? Which was the most interesting? Which one was the most violent or the most peaceful? Have you visited any? Please discuss in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the History Scholar to always be up to date with the latest about the past.